Yo! Video games.
We did a 4.5-hour debate on top 10 PS4 games with Nico. And I thought it was a fun list. I didn't realize it took so long. I thought, Nico being a fifth would be like having a really good way to equalize and cut stuff out, but or get stuff voted out really quick. But yeah, I guess not. And PS4, I probably think, yeah, in the end, might be Sony's best console. So, anyways, so for today, before I get to the big PS4 top 10 list, I actually just really wanted to go and say, hey, here's my personal top 10, and I think it's going to be kind of unique because I'm going really on, this is my personal, what PS4 games impacted me the most, what PS4 games like hit me the hardest or just left the biggest lasting impact, had the best memories. This will not be a list of your favorite games. I assure you. This will be a very, like, why did he put this? Because there's gonna be a lot of games that a lot of people really like that are not on this list. And it is going to confuse the absolute hell out of a lot of people. But this is my PS4 top 10 list. These are the PS4 games I loved the most. And I'll go from the bottom. We'll go bottoms up. And we'll start with number 10. And number 10 is Odin Sphere Le Thrasir. Now, this is originally a PS2 game, and yeah, it doesn't look necessarily better on PS4 because the game just looks so beautiful. Anyways, I guess it's crisper. It's funny how it's like, oh, it's in HD, but it's like you can't even really tell. But the thing is the reason why I put it on this list is this was such an insane overhaul of the original game, where the original game had this really basic battle system, and there wasn't much to it at all. But the PS4 remaster, if you will, just completely and utterly changed the battle system and added an insane amount. It went from like nothing to like the sauciest, combo-iest, most insane combat system in like a 2D side-scrolling hack and slash RPG. It's mind-boggling how, even though visually it doesn't really change much, the story doesn't change, like the pacing of the game doesn't change, like it is what it is. But then you just add this insane combat system on top of it. Now, some might say like, okay, well, this kind of makes the game almost way too easy now, and I'm like, I don't care. This was such a monumental upgrade in the gameplay department, where it's like the game was already beautiful, the game was already amazing, had an amazing soundtrack by Hitoshi Sakamoto. The game already had a wonderful story, memorable, like endearing story. It didn't need to be changed in any other way. All it really needed was gameplay to not be so boring. It's funny, you can play the PS2 version on the PS4 if you want to go back and just see what it's like. You have zero reason to, but it's there. The option's there nonetheless. So absolutely phenomenal game, and it's absolutely worth picking up. If you have a PS4 and you're ever just wondering like, hey, do I want to play something that's just absolutely gorgeous to look at, gorgeous to play, gorgeous to hear, like, play Odin Sphere Le Thrasir. I don't know how to pronounce that word. It's probably some Nordic word that I have no idea how to say correctly. So buy it. Like, if you ever like in sort of like a backlog, I want to check out something I might have missed, check out Odin Sphere Le Thrasir. Definitely worth your time. One of my favorite PS4 games for sure. And then, so moving on to number 9, this one's going to be a lot more obvious, I think, for people, but it's Resident Evil 2 Remake. Here's the thing. Capcom had an amazing back half with Resident Evil during the PS4 life, starting with 7 and then RE2. People didn't really like 3 that much, but 8, they liked 8, they liked 4 Remake. They're probably going to like 9. I feel Resident Evil 2 Remake was the best Resident Evil game of the Capcom Resident Evil games on the system. A lot of people will say RE7 for bringing it back, or RE7 VR. I think RE7 VR doesn't even, to me, RE7 VR doesn't count because that is a PSVR game. There is RE7 on PS4, and RE7 on PS4 is not as good of an overall gameplay experience to me as Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 7 VR is a PSVR game because you have to have a multi-$100 peripheral system to play it. It's like saying, it's like saying Sonic CD is one of the best Genesis games. It's not a Genesis game. Sonic CD is a Sega CD game. You need a Sega CD to experience Sonic CD. Or like saying, take something like Echo the Dolphin, where it's like, oh, the music in Echo the Dolphin elevates the game. Well, only in the Sega CD version, not the Genesis version. So yeah, this was absolutely a game that I thought was, it definitely lived up to the previous game. Like it's not quite as arcadey, or it's not quite as breezy as the original game, but it is just speed running enough that you can still beat the game in like 2 to 3 hours if you know what you're doing. You can still kind of blast through it, even though it is a little more involved and in depth, and it's definitely I feel a little harder just naturally with the way the third person mechanics works. But wonderful game. I honestly probably one of the best Resident Evils since Resident Evil 4. And that 7, and again, that's saying 7 is good. There are many other good Resident Evils, but I think like just pound for pound quality, like this stands really tall, like just about as good as Resident Evil 1 Remake. I don't know if it's better than Resident Evil 1 Remake, but it's right there. It's like a perfect remake where it's like, okay, we are changing the gameplay, the camera, we're changing how it works, and we're gonna have other stuff, but like it's just an absolutely phenomenal game, start to finish, just pure quality product. It's definitely earns its place as one of the best PS4 games in my mind. So yeah, Resident Evil 2 Remake on the PS4, wonderful ass game. If I were to recommend any singular Resident Evil game on the PlayStation 4, I'd probably go with Resident Evil 2 Remake. Honestly, I would. It's just the most solid game on the system for Resident Evil. So yeah, number 9, Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil 2 Remake. You thought I would say 4. I didn't. Number 8. This one will make a lot of sense too, although I think it's for a lot of people. What's up, Elias? I think a lot of people would probably rate this one higher, but number 8 is Monster Hunter World, and it took a franchise that was super beloved and super well regarded in Japan and just never caught on here. And I reviewed Monster Hunter 3 for the Wii when they were trying to make Monster Hunter a thing way back in the Wii days. It was like their second attempt to make it a Western success out of Monster Hunter, and it still didn't catch on. But World basically did what needed to be done, which was to add a good number of key quality of life enhancements to the product to just make the game not as cumbersome to play, and it worked. And we also got a Monster Hunter game that finally broke away from the initial PS2 engine that every Monster Hunter game up until that point had been running off of, even though they had maximized it out. And yeah, I mean, we just got this big, beautiful Monster Hunter game that looked really good and had a bunch of quality of life features that didn't make it such a slog to craft and to grind and to mine. And it was just an absolutely solid experience. I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fond memories of Monster Hunter World, especially with the beta and defeating the Rathalos in its nest, and then like jumping off the giant waterfall to follow it down into the jungle. Absolutely stellar game. Brought a ton of people into the franchise. I don't rate it quite as high because I personally feel like once you've fought every monster in the game and once you've kind of gotten the visual armor set and weapon set that you want, I don't really find that redoing the same monster fights over and over is that fun. I don't have that weird insanity addiction where, I just keep doing the same fucking thing over and over and over and over and over until I get a special gem or something. But I think, though, for the journey to get to the point where, okay, fight every monster, get the armor you want, get the weapon you want, getting to that point is a blast, is an absolute blast. But I also feel like the game was like, it was perfectly paced to like, all right, you're done. I don't need to get any tiny minor upgrades to my armor sets or whatever, my gem slots. So, wonderful game, but not like the absolute pinnacle of the system. Just like, this was a great game in the middle of the system's life to like really, and it really helped open this franchise up to the rest of the world. So yeah, number 8 is Monster Hunter World for me. Now this is where people get mad, and this is where we talk about number 7 of my favorite, my top 10 PS4 game. This game I found on a complete accident at E3. Actually walking around E3 being kind of bummed at how weird the character designs for Xenoblade 2 were looking. And then I wandered over to the Sega booth, and next to the Sega booth was, I believe it was the NIS America booth, which they happened to just have demo stations open and available for this game. And, one of the employees, Travis, shout out to him, he recognized who we were, and he was like, oh, I was hoping you guys would come check this out. And I just kind of went and played it, and I was like, holy crap, this game is a blast. Now, long story short, I ended up loving Xenoblade 2 a ton as well, so that, character designs aside. But Ys 8 was just such a blast. Like, it was, okay, it's an action RPG, but it's an action RPG that goes 250 miles per hour. It is just so fast-paced. It is so arcadey. It's so snappy. It's so quick. It's got parries. It's got Bayonetta witch time dodges. It's got all kinds of... It ran at a buttery smooth 60. Granted, it was just a Vita game running on PS4. But this game just, it had a ton of stuff. Like, yeah, the zones were fragmented off because, again, it was a Vita game. But, like, the story was intriguing enough. It wasn't like... It wasn't so convoluted and crazy that it was hard to follow, even though it is a Part 8, but every game in the East series is very standalone. But it was intriguing. It was like having this weird, crazy anime fantasy version of Lost. And it was just the right, amount of like intrigue, but not being too crazy, but also not being too boring either. And again, the game moves at such a fast pace where even if the game doesn't have, say, the crazy in-depth presentation and cutscenes and mocap and whatever of something like, say, a Witcher title, what it does have is gameplay, a combat system that's so satisfying, snappy, responsive, quick, that I don't care. And this is why Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, is on my top 10 PS4 list, and something like The Witcher 3 is not. I can acknowledge that Witcher 3 is a very, well-made product, but I don't want to play it. I want to play Ys 8, and that's the difference. And that's why Ys 8 is number 7 on my PS4 list, because this is a game I've gone back to and gone back to and gone back to and on other systems as they roll out on PC, on Switch, on other things. Like, this is a title that's easy to jump back into, easy to just sort of play around in. The soundtrack is amazing. Of course, because it's always got music going, really really pumped up hype music. It's just a really good time. This is a really really good game. It's probably the best game I've played yet from Falcom. It's the best Ys game I think I've ever played for sure. And there's some good Ys games out there. So, but yeah, this game was just a blast. Like, this game is very much, if your gameplay is fun, it don't matter if it's just a Vita game, like graphically or whatever. If the gameplay is solid, who cares? Absolute great game. Love this game. Would highly recommend it. Goes on whenever it goes on sale. I would say grab it, pick it up. Wonderful backlog game. If you've missed it before, just check it out. You don't need any Ys knowledge to play it. I know it says Part 8, but you don't need any knowledge. You don't need no prior knowledge. It's totally fine. It's absolutely worth it. Like, wonderful game. Number 7 on my list for a reason. So, Ys 8, number 7. All right. So the next game is, this one will make more sense, I guess, to some people. And yeah, this one didn't quite make it in the YoVideogames top 10 list. And I'm a little sad, because I feel like it really would have if 3/5 of the people had actually gone through the game. and that is, of course, Yakuza 0. This is I got an Xbox trailer. Whatever. This is the game. This is the game that Shenmue wished it was when it first came out. You could say Shenmue walked so this could run, or Shenmue crawled so this could run. Shenmue rolled around like a baby going nowhere on the floor so that this game could marathon sprint. It's easily one of the best in the series. Some to this day say it is the best in the series, and not really wrong. It's just an absolute crazy bonkers experience of Japan at the height of its bubble economy. So you play the game in Osaka and Tokyo in Japan, 1988. Two different characters, one in Tokyo, one in Osaka, and it's just an absolute great experience, because it's hard to describe without going too much in, but there is just so much you can do. The game world, the game map, very small. Not an open world game, not a GTA game. There's no hijacking vehicles or anything. It's a story-driven game. It's basically like Shenmue and River City Ransom had this crazy weird baby that grew up to be like, Mr. Universe or something. It's got so much going on, so many mini games, so many games within the game. And that's all wrapped around a highly dramatic story that does get quite emotional at times, but also knows how to like make things really silly and really over the top. And it somehow finds the weirdest balance between them. But yeah, like what you can do in the game besides just like, I can play old Sega games, I could go karaokeing, I can go, I can like call up like, I can call up, hotlines, for to talk to pretty women, for a toll or whatever. All the weird stuff, the managing the cabaret club stuff, which I wasn't really into, but just the absolute insanity that the game presents and kind of gives you just this weird, wonderful bubble into what was the underworld of Japan like in the 80s. And there you go. You have Yakuza 0 for that. So number 6 is Yakuza 0. It goes on sale quite a bit. It's on and off Game Pass a lot. I would say anytime you get a chance to play it, if you ever wanted to just dive into the Yakuza games, Zero is a wonderful starting place because again it is Zero. So you don't need any prior knowledge of the series to go into it. You're just gonna have a good time. You can stop at Zero and not play any other Yakuza games. It's just it kind of is a nice standalone product. Though I would say you could go Zero, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, and complete that, and you'd have a nice trilogy you could just cut off from that point on. Just absolutely wonderful game. The best right now, the best series. I probably like Yakuza Pirate more, but as far as like getting into the series and just living this life, Yakuza 0 is absolutely top tier. Shenmue wishes. So number 5 on my list, and now we're into top 5. And this one will make some sense. It'll make some people happy, but this one's an odd pick. But this is my fifth game for my PS4 list. And that is, yes, it's a Switch trailer. It is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Now, this game is a visual novel, first and foremost, a side-scrolling visual novel, and an RTS game. A really, really easy RTS game. But this was sort of like the first time, not the first time I played a visual novel, but the first time I was really sucked into a visual novel. And a lot of that has to do with just like the really good presentation, really good art. Also, it's not just static images. There's a lot of feeling of movement and stuff, and just the way atmosphere and lighting is just sort of done. As for what the game is about, I can't tell you. It's literally everything. It is an absolute crazy love letter to the science fiction genre. It is a love letter to science fiction from 1950s to the 2000s. It covers in sort of soft homages and just all of those bases, but it has its own unique original story that is you will be intrigued. Like, I don't know when the point comes in that you get hooked. But when you get hooked, you can't stop. Like this game has that sort of like tendrils in you kind of thing where like it may not jump you may not get hooked right away, but when you do, it is impossible to let go of. And absolutely memorable story. Not like nothing deep, but definitely very complex story-wise. But once it's in you, you can't let it go. It is just a riveting sci-fi yarn from beginning to end. And if you're just open enough to try something a little different, with like going with like a visual novel told via side-scrolling visuals, you're in for the absolute one of the coolest narrative experiences of your life. But yeah, it's a weird sell because it's so good, but I can't tell you about all the crazy things. Just know that it is moment after moment after moment after moment after moment after moment of just cool twists, cool little twists and turns in the story, and it just never stops. It never lets up. Relentlessly cool moments. So you just gotta check it out. When check it out on sale whenever it goes on sale. It goes on sale often. Again, just one of the greatest, one of the coolest visual novel experiences you'll ever have, and just a really fun story to boot. So you gotta check it out. Number 5, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim on PS4. It's also on Switch as well. Not on PC because Vanillaware are a bunch of dumb dinosaurs. Number 4. This one's gonna maybe be a little controversial, but it's my list. And that is Swoosh of the Ass Cloud. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus. This is a remake. Doesn't really technically add anything new, but it is absolutely the way you want to play this game. Because as good as the game is on the PS2 or even the PS3, it's a chunky mess. This is the way you want to play the game, the way you want to experience the game. Some people get upset over the way Wanderer's face looks, but considering you almost never see his face at all throughout the entire course of the game, it kind of don't matter. And even then, it's a little overblown anyways, because everything else still looks really, really good. So this is probably my favorite. Well, I guess not, since there is another one higher, but absolutely one of my absolute favorite first-party Sony games ever made. I'm back and forth between this and the next game as far as which one of my actually absolute favorite is, but I would say this overall is ranks a little higher for me, but specifically as a PS4, I'm like, it is a remake. It is a remake that is just a graphically faithful remake. I know they actually did quality of life, the controls a little bit, and it's very much appreciated. So I would say this is the way you want to experience this game. Just absolutely beautiful game. This is the soul of an indie game with the budget of a AAA product. But this is very, very much the soul and heart of an indie game experience. Like something that is just very different, got a very weird premise, weird art style, like weird somber story, wonderful story. I love it. It's almost all told visually. Very little of it is told with dialogue. But yeah, it is the heart and soul of an indie game, of a really good indie game, but done with the budget of a AAA product. It makes you. This is the kind of game that would give you faith in the game industry, before they rip it away with some live service slop. But yeah, this is number 4 is Shadow of the Colossus, the PS4 remake by Blue Point. Absolutely phenomenal game. Does absolute justice to the original Japan studio Ueda directed title. So I if I had a PS4, I would consider this, honestly, I would consider this essential. But yeah, speaking of essential, we're in our top 3 now. And our top 3 should probably come as no surprise. But this one is absolutely one of my favorite games of the system. Again, kind of right place, right time, and that is Ghost of Tsushima. Absolutely beautiful game. that basically was, for me, my Animal Crossing, if you will, where I could get lost in some beautiful, crazy, romanticized ancient world here, and just forget everything for a little bit, and just enjoy just a really wonderful game. There's a lot of open world games from Sony. There's a lot of sad dad walking simulator games. This game is just absolutely beautiful. And the story is good enough. It is based on a real Mongol invasion of Tsushima Island in Japan, in and around the 1100s, 11 to 1200s. And, as far as history stuff goes, there's a lot wrong with it, but there's a lot that's just, who cares? Okay, katanas were not a thing at this point in history. They were much longer two-handed swords. Haikus didn't exist at this point in time, stuff like that. Whatever. It's an absolutely beautiful game. The samurai were far from noble, also a thing, but doesn't matter. This is like just a beautiful game where, again, environment can really do a lot. The battle system is good. And then, of course, they added the multiplayer. And the multiplayer was actually a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with the multiplayer. The different modes, going through that with all of you dudes and stuff. So just a highest recommendation. Again, this is like, all right, what is essential PS4? You get a PS4, what's a game you kind of have to own? Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games you kind of have to own if you have a PS4. No matter who you are, you kind of got to own this. You got to play this. So this is an essential product, essential gaming on Tsushima. So yeah, absolute top 10, top 3 for me. But if you notice, though, on our YoVideogames list, this scored higher than my personal list, which a little crazy. I did a little soul searching. I did a little thinking about it, though. And as much as I did love this game, and especially for what the game did for when it released, there is a game I honestly have to say I think occupied more of my time. My number 2 game for the PlayStation 2, number 2 on my top 10, is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I have never had this much fun for this long in a video game, probably since Phantasy Star Online, honestly. Blackout, and that's owed entirely to Blackout and the modes within Blackout, the BR version, mode within the game. This game lasted years. Friendships were formed with this game. The amazing stories were formed with this game. And I would give a little bit of a shout out to Warzone as well, except for the fact that Warzone literally doesn't exist and cannot be played. This still can, and that's more of a testament to the absolute hellhole that is the live service game service system. But yeah, Blackout mode in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, probably the last time I had an absolutely stellar multiplayer experience that lasted for years, started friendships, and gave me an insane amount of stories and memories to go with. Blackout is still the best map that Treyarch or anyone, or Raven or whoever has ever made for a Call of Duty Battle Royale. And it's still probably the most fair because it doesn't have any of that. It doesn't have any of the in-shitification of loadouts and any of the other stuff. And the way you earn stuff, you can easily just earn things just by playing the game. And sometimes you may have to wait a while. Like I had to wait like a year to get my Danny Trejo skin to show back up in my shop, but it was totally worth it in the end because I was just having fun anyways in between. So, but yeah, this was the most beautiful, purest Call of Duty experience. And again, like, people won't understand because people want to dunk on Call of Duty. It's the same thing every year, yada yada. But it's really not. I mean, if you played Blackout 4, if you play or Blackout in Black Ops 4, you would understand that it is a still to this day completely unique experience to Call of Duty and to Battle Royale, and it is still the pinnacle of the series. It's funny because COD 4 is still kind of my favorite COD, and then COD 4 and Blops 4, best CODs whatsoever. I know people will say Modern Warfare 2, whatever. COD 4, Blops 4, these are the best. They never got better. These were the pinnacles. And yeah, this is my number 2. And you can still be played today. I can still recommend this game. Like, you can still hop online and actually find games, even on PlayStation 4 with Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I pray that the Microsoft wakes the fuck up someday and puts this on Game Pass so that we can really get a much bigger lobby player base going on that system or that ecosystem. But until they wake the fuck up for that, like, you know, for now, this is still top 10. My number 2 PS4 game is Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Don't care. This is too many memories, too many hours, too much good times with this game for anything else. And that just leaves my number 1 PS4 game of all time. I'm sure y'all figured it out by now. And that, of course, is Nier Automata. Nier Automata was the game that broke the glass ceiling, or rather the concrete bunker that was narrative in video games, where no matter how complex, no matter how chunky or how meaty, no matter how much video game stories had done or had done it to the point, there has never been a video game story that made me sit there and go, you know what, I'm going to fucking rethink my life. I'm going to rethink my life and my philosophy on life and all that. This was the first time I was like, oh, there's a narrative worthy of praise here. Before this game, I was very much in the mindset of like, games have good stories for a video game, for that little asterisk. Yeah, for a video game, it's got a good story. This is the first game where this story is actually legitimately good. And more importantly, this is a story told through the medium of gaming that could not be told through any other. You couldn't tell the story that this game tells with a TV show, with a movie, with an anime, with a series, with a OVAs. You couldn't do it. It has to be done through an interactive means, and it won't make sense unless you actually play through the game and understand how the sort of repetition of gameplay is part of the narrative and part of the grander meta, theme that it's trying to tell you and stuff. So this was the game that broke that for me. And then on top of that, so I've talked all about narrative. Of course, the music is phenomenal, so good I go to concerts for the game. That's how good the music is. But the other thing is that the combat in this game, some people are like, oh, it's not that deep, it's mashy, it's this, it's that. I don't care. Fuck all of them, because the combat designer, Takahashi Tara, stated that how in this game you always are able to dodge out of things because he felt that it was more important for player satisfaction to press a button and have an immediate response. And if you're pressing a button and you don't immediately get a player response, it's just going to frustrate the player and not feel good. And I wish I could staple that statement from GDC onto the motherfucking forehead of every goddamn game director and game designer who directs any real-time combat game and then wants to have all these fucking delay frames or wake-up frames or, oh, well, all this like lag, all these like, we need to finish this animation before we let you dodge. Fuck you. Fuck your combat narrative. Fuck your like ideals. When I press dodge, let me dodge. I don't give a flaming fuck about your realistic take on anything. It's a video game. We are playing a fucking video game. Make the controls feel good above all else. Fuck your realism. And that's the big reason why I'm still enamored with this game, because I can pick this game up and I can play it at any point. And by the way, this game you can do some crazy sauce with this game. Just look at Shuni Legends gifs in videos he's made for what you can do in Automata's combat system. There's plenty you can do if you're willing to dig into it. But just the fact that the game always feels like you have control of your character, always, like pressing a button, doing an attack doesn't like suddenly like make you, well, I need to lose control of this character for the next 3 seconds as they swing this sword, herb or derp or derp. No, it never has that moment. So yeah, this is the best game experience on PlayStation 4. This game, again, it broke the barrier of gaming narratives and actually gave us a worthy gaming narrative we could actually deserve to be put on a pedestal. It has music that is so good we're still going to concerts to it 8 years later. And again, it has combat that's still, despite the fact that it's not hard or whatever the hell, even though there's a one death mode in the game, or one time death. You know, even with all that, it has like the most satisfying, smoothest, best feeling combat, like industry standard feeling on controls to this day, and I appreciate that greatly. And again, and then that's all just getting to the ending, where it asks you to do something via gameplay. As a gamer, that like will make you think if you're paying attention and you have the smallest shred of media literacy at least. But yeah, this is the game that I think defined the PS4 for me. I think it's the best game on the system. It is on many other systems. Obviously, it's on Xbox, it's on PC, it's on Switch. So it is on other things now, and there is ways to experience it. But yeah, as far as just, okay, it came out on PS4 and Steam first, although the early Steam version was really not worth playing from what I understand. This is the #1 game on the PS4. Just an absolute life-changing kind of gameplay experience. And that's why Nier Automata is my #1 PS4 game of the system. So let me know what you guys think. And then you'll see coming soon the YoVideogames top 10 list.